How you guys doing out there? James Humphrey, Socialist Productions Movie Reviews. I got Jimmy with me. And today we are going to be talking about XXX.
It's a little early in the evening for roast, but I'm ready to roast this one.
And what do I mean by XXX? I'm not talking about those kind of movies. I'm talking about XXX with Vin Diesel. And
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube.
Yep, and Exhibit. Because he was in the second one at least, as he was helping Ice Cube.
Yeah, right.
Pimp My Ride.
Right. Let's start with the first one.
Okay.
So, came out in 2002.
Yeah.
Back when Vin Diesel was just coming out of his shell. He just did the first Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah.
He
still had the baby face.
Yeah, he was doing some other stuff. And overall, the movie is not terrible for its time.
Yeah, for the first one.
For the first one, because the stunts were believable.
Yeah.
So there's that. Even though it's clearly there's a stunt double that's doing all the stunts.
Yeah.
In the movie.
I'll admit it does look pretty fun to jump a Corvette off a bridge.
Yeah, but you could easily tell that's not Vin doing those moves. But that's okay. That's okay. Story wise is what's getting me. Because it's almost like it's James Bond that meets,
It was kind of a modern twist on a James Bond.
Yeah, and it's like,
I don't know, for its time, I think it had potential. It had potential to go somewhere pretty cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
However, after the first one is pretty much where it all went downhill.
Yeah. The second one,
it was Dub Edition. It was literally Pimp My Ride for XXX.
It's not even that. It's like, it's Ice Cube. It's like, I'm not saying Ice Cube is a bad actor. It's just I can't take him serious in this particular role where he's playing an action character. You know what I mean? He's got the whole, I'm hard, I'm lean, I could do this, I could do that, I don't care about this shit kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which kind of, defeats the purpose of him doing the whole missions in the first place if you got this I don't give a fuck attitude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which kind of dubs it back to the first one where, again, you had this guy who was doing all these insane stunts, all this other stuff, and
he just wanted to stay out of jail. That's the only reason he went with that one.
And then here's the thing, even with that, with the stunt that he was going to jail for is like, what, reckless endangerment is literally the only thing that he had.
Maybe 6 months,
speeding,
some probation,
eluding, the cops and everything. That's like, what, a couple of years?
Yeah.
So, you can't do a couple of years.
Three to five for the max.
You got to do this big high end mission to avoid a couple of years in prison is not really selling it for me.
Yeah. To get shot at and go underground.
Here's the other thing. The gadgets, man. The gadgets were so good that it also, again, defeats the purpose of hiring this guy to do the mission in the first place when you could literally just train an agent to do all the stuff that the guy's doing in general. I mean, why waste the time, the tax money, and all this other stuff on sending him through all these different tests, all these other things, and blah this and blah that, when you could literally just hire an agent to do any and everything that he did in the movie.
True, maybe wouldn't blend in as much with the group of people he was infiltrating, but even the people that he was infiltrating were like other soldiers. That's true.
There wasn't a bunch of stunt guys that, I guess they had the one guy that was a fan.
Yeah,
that watched his stunts and all this other shit, but
he blew up big for Xander Cage in that one at close to the end.
Yeah.
So
let's talk about the third one.
Oh, God.
Let's waste our time and their time, the viewership's time.
That movie is so terrible.
On the third one.
Even the acting just felt forced. So to literally start with him jumping off a communications tower on skis.
Yep.
There's no physical way. Again, like you said in the first one, they were at least somewhat believable stunts. Mm-hmm. By the time they hit the third, it was completely out the window. It might as well been the Fast and the Furious, how unbelievable the stunts became. Mm-hmm.
Here's my thing. They hired a bunch of high-end names for the third one, but they have no real relevance to the story or skills or anything in that nature. Yeah. I mean, I guess you had Ruby Rose as the quote-unquote sniper or whatever. And they had Donnie Yen in there as, the martial arts kick everybody's ass kind of thing. But then he only had like one real good fight scene, and that was it. They had, Tony Jaa in there as the bad guy, as the villain, or one of the villains, per se, that was walking around kicking ass and everything. But his English is so bad that I can't understand what the hell he's even really saying if I don't have subtitles at the bottom of the thing. It's really bad, And again, the story.
Yeah, the story was pretty bad. And then it wasn't even relevant to the past ones with the way Gibbons was setting up for everything, and in the beginning everything is XXX. It's like, come on, and you didn't spill a thing about skateboarding in the first one. You literally spilled about a tagger and a 4x8 cell and a bucket to shit in. That's how you got XXX to do what he did.
Well, in the second one, they were talking about how the original XXX was killed, right?
Yeah.
And then it turns out that this guy is literally just hiding in Brazil or Rio or whatever the fuck, and he's just hanging out in plain sight, so nobody knows that he's there, you know. And then when they finally catch up to the guy, it's like, hey man, we need you to do this mission because we got nobody else that could do the mission.
Yeah, you had all these other XXXs ready to go.
Yeah.
So. And
then they all somehow collaborate together in the end to do this and do that, and
Yeah.
I think Vin Diesel got too high on his high horse when it came to his XXX movies, that he really didn't put any time, effort, or energy in that third one, and it showed with almost all of them for the acting in that sense. It's like the dialogue is just nothing but one-liners throughout the entire movie, to where nobody knows what the hell's going on. It's just like you're going from scene to scene to scene, from one-liner to one-liner to one-liner. And the thing is that everybody has a one-liner. It's like, okay, I said one line, and then you're going to say one line, and that's the end of the dialogue.
Yeah.
That's what makes terrible movies.
True.
I mean, and then Ice Cube shows up at the end as the
savior.
The savior of everyone.
X takes care of their own.
But again, why did you just didn't hire this XXX just to do the mission to begin with?
Yeah.
And then with the technology that they were displaying in the film, it's like that could have just...
I mean, the gun was cool in the first one.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I think we all wanted the binoculars as well.
Yeah, but but that's my point exactly. If you're going to have see-through binoculars that can see through anything...
Yeah.
Why didn't you just use those
to start with
to see through whatever you need to see through for whatever it is you're trying to find? And then why is not every single soldier got see-through binoculars? Why is it just one guy running around with see-through binoculars?
And the special gun that can shoot the tranquilizer darts and blood splatter.
Well, that defeats the whole purpose of the mission and everything else. If you could just get literally a team of Marines with see-through binoculars that could just run through and take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. Yeah, And then, of course, I'm going to hire some street dude that has no particular training.
That realistically could rip you off at any point and take off with all this crap.
No realistic training whatsoever besides doing stunts. It's not like he's like some trained fighter or anything like that. I mean, he went through 3 tests, right? Or is it 2 tests? I think it was 2 tests. The first one was he was in the diner. He was the diner where they had the stick-up guy and all this other stuff.
And then the second one, they dropped him in Colombia against the drug lord.
Yeah, so. And I feel like the actual drug lord would have just
killed him right then and there. There wouldn't have been any extra to that. By the time he was there, they would have already been tortured anyways. So.
Now, I will say that for the second one, at least what I think Ice Cube's, he had some sort of military training. He was supposed to be this top-notch, soldier or whatever.
I think he was a SEAL, if I remember right, and he had the high dive. So,
but then again, why didn't you go to him first for the first one instead of having him go in there for the second one?
It's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
It makes you think of what the hell was Gibbons thinking about on his picking of the XXX. Because it's like, if you're going to pick pick random people to be soldiers, at least pick somebody that's going to be like top of the notch, top of the line. Hey, I know this guy can do this. Yeah. Compared to, you're just going to go to jail for a couple of years, or you can do this thing and, That's it.
Yeah.
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 What happened?
They screwed up is what happened.
They dropped the ball very, very seriously.
Yeah.
And so, what else can you do with that?
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
I mean, for going forward, like at this point, they really can't go forward with the movies anymore unless they. I don't know. I don't really know what they could go forward with it.
They can always just, I don't know, find another random stranger to do another mission and then bring all the other ones previously to help them with the mission instead of just hiring them to begin with.
Yeah.
And that's like literally the plot of the XXX movies.
Yeah, they die, go into hiding, and come back like next movie later.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to cut it there because I don't think we can trash talk the movie anymore.
Yeah,
or the series anymore.
The only good parts, well, a good part to talk about is the cars, but that's about it.
What car did they have on the second one?
They still had the GTO, and then they had the Shelby Series 1 at the very end.
Right, but they don't actually really drive it around, do they?
No, not really.
Because at the end, he, what's his name, Xander, whatever, tells him to put all the
gadgets
in the car at the end of the movie, and then he never really uses any of the gadgets.
Yeah, except for the headlight rocket launcher.
Yeah, all the gadgets that he could use wasn't possible because the missile was going too
the
fast.
Ahab was going too fast.
Yeah.
So.
And then in the second one, they just blew the car up, right?
No, they kept... Wait, did they? I know because he had a version of that car. He had a GTO.
Right.
But in the third one, Xander's original one came back because it still was missing the two headlights.
Right.
Right.
I'm thinking of a Fast and the Furious movie where they just blow up cars.
All right.
Yeah. My bad. Anyway, I'm gonna cut it off short there. What are we doing for next episode? I don't know. We'll figure something out.
I thought Resident Evil.
Resident Evil? Is that what we're
You want
doing?
to do our Resident Evils?
All right, guys, stay tuned for next episode for the Resident Evil movies. We're cutting off short there. Jimmy, James, we'll catch you guys next time.